I would like to call to order the regular city council meeting closed session. The time is 5:31. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa is excused. Councilmember Ortiz.
Present.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sosa is excused. And Mayor Trujillo.
Here. Now's the time for public comment. I remind speakers that the public comment period is reserved for comments about the items listed on the closed session agenda. There's an opportunity later in the meeting for general public comment. This is a business meeting. We have business to attend to in the next hour. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the council regarding closed session items. I would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause a disruption will receive one warning and then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or a citation for misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment regarding closed session items to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Mayor.
How many speakers have taken a number?
No speakers today, Mayor.
Is there a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the mayor. The city council will now recess to close session under the following authorities. Number one, Government Code Section 549-56.9D2, anticipated litigation regarding significant exposure to the litigation, one potential case. We will now recess to close session. The time is 5:33. Okay, I will now reconvene the regular council meeting closed session. City Attorney, Mr. Funk, will you please report the closed session action?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. City Council tonight took up all matters on the closed session agenda. There is no reportable action from tonight's proceeding. That's the conclusion of my report.
Thank you. Before we begin the regular city council meeting open session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during public comment must obtain a number card from the city clerk. If you did not obtain a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and city staff will issue you a number card. Lining up during public comment will not be permitted, and each speaker should remain in their seat until their number is called. The time clock will begin when you begin your comments. Per the city's council meetings rules and for fire safety regulations, all persons shall remain seated unless addressing the council or entering or leaving the chambers. Standing in the aisles along the walls is prohibited. There's an overflow seating available in the lobby. If there are no available seats in the chambers, please proceed to sit in the lobby. I will now call to order the regular city council meeting open session. The time is 6:36. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa,
Good evening. Present.
Councilmember Ortiz,
Present.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sosa is excused, and Mayor Trujillo.
Here. Our invocation tonight will be led by Pastor Michael Gutierrez from the Redeemer Covenant Church. Pastor Gutierrez, welcome and please come forward. After the pastor is done, we would ask that you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you pray with me? Dear God, I thank you for this great city of Downey, God. God, I thank you for all that's represented in this room, God, from first responders to educators to city council members to residents of this community, God. I thank you that you have brought them to this specific community for a reason, God, and you are working in this community. God, I pray for our council tonight as they make decisions, God, as they had discussion earlier, God, and will make decisions following, God. I pray that you would bless each one of them, God, that you would provide for each one's needs, God, and that you would bring unity to our council, God, that you would maintain the unity of our council so that they would make decisions that are for the best of the city's residents and businesses and schools and first responders and all that the city encompasses, God. We thank you for what you are doing, and we ask that you continue to keep your hand on this amazing community of Downey, God. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Gutierrez. Thank you. And now, please remain standing, and we ask the Boy Scout Troop 441, please come forward and lead us in the flag salute.
Audience, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please give it up for Boy Scout Troop 441. And now's the time for City Council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, and conference meeting reports. I'll start to my right because she's very good about including almost everything we do. You have a very active City Council. Councilwoman for the 3rd District, Dorothy Pemberton.
Thank you very much, Mayor Trujillo. Good evening, everyone, and I'll give you my comments. It'll be quick but precise. August does not have a Heritage Month to commemorate. However, August 7th is Purple Heart Day. This honors our fallen and wounded veterans who received a Purple Heart Medal. Memorial Day honors the fallen, and Veterans Day honors those who have survived their service. But many Americans are unaware of the ongoing struggle of surviving veterans and service members who were wounded in action. Purple Heart Day, held each August 7th, acknowledges this gap by commemorating both the fallen and those who have endeavored to go on after sustaining previous injuries in combat, grievous injuries. This is not a federally recognized holiday, but it's a time to reflect and thank veterans and service members for their service. Corporal A. Honrath is with our police department, and he is a Purple Heart Medal recipient. He was wounded in 2007 in Iraq. We thank you for your service, sir. Also, thank you to our city manager, Bradley, and assistant city manager, Rojas, for following up on my request to make Downey a Purple Heart city and taking steps to officially do so. Santa Fe Springs just became one as well. So thank you to all the veterans who brought it to my attention in our city. Thank you very much. Attendance. We attended many things. The Downey Fire Department had a graduation for 3 new firefighters. Councilmember Ortiz and I attended a skills demonstration at our training tower at Independence Park, which showed incredible agility, strength, and determination. Being a firefighter and first responder is a very dangerous job. The uniform alone that they showed and demonstrated with the tank together weighs 70 pounds, correct? This was followed by a pin ceremony at Station 1. Our fire department is still in need of additional firefighters, so if you know recruits, here I'm giving you some help, Chief Herlock. If you know recruits, have them apply. Concerts in the Park was at Furman Park. It is now over. Our last concert was held with the Downey Symphony. They closed out the season. They had the famous passing of the baton. Many of us were there, our mayor and council member as well. And the kids in the audience conducted the orchestra. So great selection of shows that we had. Jason, our Park and Rec director, along with his staff, for always being out there and picking up trash, which I like. They had the pickers, and the Rose Float Association for feeding me with hot dogs every week. The National Night Out was packed with all our city departments out for display, including the canines. Kiwanis had a car show with a special guest, Jay Leno, over there by the old Sears. And that was huge. A great job, Los Amigos Kiwanis, for helping raise our funds for the Downey YMCA. And our former mayor, Rick Rodriguez, was security for Jay. Good backpack distribution, gave away over 500 backpacks, when in the past we just did about 200 at Golden Park. Many of us were there as well. We also give remaining backpacks to the Downey Unified School District for students in need. So thanks to all the service clubs and persons that helped out, the explorers and the grilling crew of our police chief, department, Acting Chief Lochner and Lieutenant Rosario, along with the Rose Float, and Jeremy was there as well. A.K.A.'s Pride event was Saturday, and I stopped by afterward after the backpack event, and many attended. We attended the monthly Vector. I did the monthly Vector Mosquito Board meeting. I'm your trustee for the city of Downey. They reported only 22 cases this season for West Nile virus compared to 36 last year, mostly in San Fernando Valley. No human cases were reported, and we will follow them. You can follow them on Facebook under Greater LA Vector for tips on mosquito prevention. I'd like to thank the staff, Downey PD, for more visibility on our streets. We do see the officers. Residents say that as well. Just continue, if they can, to drive through residential streets to have that visibility, which helps deter crime and speeding. Public Works, a big thank you. Jim Louder, thanks you for replacing the stolen sign at Bob's Big Boy, the dedication plaque. Now, if we can only stop people from stealing our fire hydrants, that's a big theft, too, for the bronze that's out there. I was made earlier aware of that vandalism. More street paving is happening in our city. It's being done in many areas in D3 over by 5th Street, also Lorena and Western, where it's heavily trafficked by our multifamily over there in our renting area. So stay tuned for getting that completely done. The project is almost over, and then we can start looking at alleys that are going to need some paving. Public Works Director Baumgardner, also thank you for making immediate improvements to Treasure Island Park. As I requested, things will be happening there. And code enforcement for being very quick to respond to violations. And one of our code enforcement officers, Luis Garcia, dealt with a person right away within hours of his email. So that's a great thing for him as well. Thank you. Save the dates. I want to let residents know that I am going to, along with my council member Ortiz, going to go to Siaka this week for a tour. with my council member and see how they are operating, where improvements are needed, what their needs in animal welfare and top priority are needing to be. I know Councilmember Frometa is on the board as president, and they have a monthly meeting, but we need to see also firsthand what things can be done to improve it, where their help is needed, because there's definitely an area that needs some assistance with number of residents calling in or asking for help. So I will get back with that. Keep a lookout for good locations for Keep Downey Beautiful for in the fall for cleanups on a Saturday. Contact Public Works if you have an area where you live. And lastly here on some follow-up or inquiries, City Manager, I would like, if it's possible, to have Public Works go down Suva Street. The word stop on the asphalt is very distorted. The ground got very wavy, but it's hard to read. With school starting tomorrow, I want to make sure that we have those stop signs placed properly on the ground, both at Suva at Wileyburg, at Horley, and also at Tweedy, right by Price. And then maybe perhaps we can focus by all the schools to make sure those stop signs are nice and visible. On Old River School Road, our residents by Firestone and Old River by the Bob's parking lot. We're cleaning up that area. It was very unsightly with cars parking for more than 3 days, more than 72 hours. Those are being moved with the help of our city, and we'll get the streets swept and cleaned up as well. And finally, also, I visited River Grove. That's part of my district on the island. River Grove is a little bit of a hot mess right now, and it may be a private road, but we still have standards and rules for the entire city. I'd like to have letters sent out or reached out to the residents concerning abandoned vehicles, personal storage of trailers, encroachments with vegetation, and let them know that they are not applied with our Downey codes with the other streets. Other streets have to comply as well. And make it also accessible for emergency vehicles. Some residents had requested that we look into that. And then there was lastly the curb painting, which I had clarification on. There's a company that's going around doing curb painting, asking for a donation. They should have a permit. We did have a company that did apply for one, and I understand there may be one that is not has applied that may be going around requesting for donations. Check the permit, and if that's the proper protocol, City Manager, let residents know how that's being handled. That's my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Ortiz.
Good evening. I just want to recap some of the events. I mean, you mentioned all the events that you and I attended.
But you can elaborate.
I do want to mention one of the events that I went to Golden Park. We had a movie night there to watch Migration, so it was a great turnout. So I just want to say thank you to Jason. It was a great event. I do have a couple of asks of staff. The first ask, I wanted to see if I can request to do a lemonade day and work with the chamber. I want to empower our youth today and to become entrepreneurs tomorrow. And I know some cities do this event/program to educate our youth about being, business owners. So I want to see if I can have a second for that type of event.
Second.
Thank you. And I know that the governor issued a directive to cities. I know that staff has been working really hard on that, so I just want to thank staff for a report that's coming in front of us. I just wanted to see when this report is going to come in front of us. I know it's going to come sometime soon. If I can get some information on that.
Happy to do that. We're bringing that report back at the next meeting on the 27th.
On the 27th, okay, thank you. And just to do a follow-up, I know we've been asking to hire a homeless coordinator or a manager in regards to this. Can we get a little update on that as well?
It's been a pretty difficult recruitment. We've gone through, I think, that process 4 times now at this point to bring somebody on board. We've found a couple of people that have been good, ready to hire them, but for different reasons, they've decided to stay at their current place of employment, and it's been a pretty difficult recruitment environment for that position. So we are actually evaluating it currently, and we'll bring some options back to you very shortly to talk about how we think we can be more successful in getting that position filled.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And lastly, I just want to wish both my colleagues, Dorothy and Mario, a happy birthday. It's a great pleasure being up here with you guys, so I just want to say happy birthday to you both.
Thank you. Does that conclude your comments?
That concludes my comments.
Councilwoman Frometa.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see you here. I say engaged communities make strong communities. So thank you for joining us, those of you that are sitting here in the audience and those of you that are joining us via Zoom. I'm not going to repeat all of the events that have been said by my council colleagues, but certainly I do want to say thank you to our police department, our fire department, our public works, our community services department, for all of the, and Parks and Rec, for all of the events that we've had this summer. It's hard to believe this summer is coming to a close with the beginning of school beginning tomorrow here in the city of Downey. LA Unified, I believe, started yesterday, and we are wrapping it up. And so thank you for all of the concerts in the park. Thank you for a very successful National Night Out. And as was stated just a few minutes ago, the Gangs Out of Downey annual event was tremendous, with over 750 backpacks given out and over 1,000 and some hot dogs grilled. Thank you, Chief, for everything that you and the department did to feed the community. This is a free event, and it's been successful for so many years, and this is what makes Downey such a special place. I had the opportunity to interact with many of our community residents in some of these events, so thank you. It takes all of us working together. People come from other cities to enjoy our concerts in the park, and as has been said, the lineup was really great this year, so thank you for that. And I do want to acknowledge also and say Ben Dicko did a great job with Rocket Fever again this year. Although I was out of the area this weekend and unable to attend the event, along other events happening this last weekend, I know that it was a successful event, and I know that it takes a mighty team. You have a small team, but it takes a mighty team to get it all going. So thank you. Thank you for continuing to be a light in terms of having that knowledge and fostering that desire to get children to love science and space. So thank you for that. In light of yesterday's 4.4 magnitude earthquake that was very close to us, those of us that are longtime Californians, we are no strangers to tremors, but yesterday's was a nice jolt, and it's a good opportunity for us to remember to be prepared. Once again, the Red Cross recommends 1 gallon per person per day. 1 gallon of water. And so it is important to make sure that you and your neighbors are prepared. I know I am looking at Carrie Uva, my planning commissioner, and also you are your neighborhood watch captain, as well as a member of the CERT team, the Community Emergency Response Team. And Downey is very fortunate to have this Community Emergency Response Team. Please, for those of you listening on Zoom, on YouTube, or here, there will be additional classes in the spring. I don't know if we are done for the year. Is it next month? The graduation. And if you want more information, please go to our website and look up CERT for the upcoming classes. It is important. In any big earthquake, our fire department and police department will be busy making sure that our structures are okay, and we are going to be each other's first line of defense, our neighbors. So please make sure that you have a plan and make sure that you are prepared. I want to also thank my council colleague, Horacio. There was a post on social media regarding the homeless encampments, and I know that we've been talking about this for a number of years, and thankfully, and finally, it must be an election year, but for Governor Newsom finally signed a mandate on July 25th that is ordering cities up and down the state to clean up the homeless encampments. The following week, there was a meeting with the County Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles, where unanimously the board indicated that homeless are not to be criminalized. And we have never said we want to criminalize our homeless. They also indicated that the county jails will not be used to dump homeless or unhoused individuals. We obviously are in agreement that we are not to criminalize our homeless people. However, with that mandate from Governor Newsom, we will be taking a more proactive approach. And so I want to thank Councilmember Ortiz for also being active and vocal about this issue, because I know as a community, we have seen what the encampments throughout our city have done. I know that our colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Sosa, visited the Rancho Los Amigos area not too long ago, and there was also a cleanup by our police department there. And so we will continue to be more proactive, and now with that on our side, we are not to criminalize unhoused individuals. However, with these new tools, we will make sure that if they don't want the services that we are providing them, that we are no longer allowing them to sit and loiter around our parks and or around our neighborhoods, because this prevents our community and our neighborhoods from feeling safe, certainly our businesses, and we get those calls and emails very often. So thank you for that. Just a couple of things I do want to ask of staff is, again, with school here, undoubtedly we will have a lot of traffic over the next week. And I think it's important that we've discussed this before, that our officers are out in the various pickup and drop-off zones, because we do tend to see not only an increase in traffic, but people not obeying the traffic laws, and sometimes double parking and impeding traffic, and sometimes children bolting out of those cars. And so that is a real safety issue. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Mr. Trujillo. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Good evening.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It was Downey Pride weekend. It was an amazing weekend. It started with a sold-out show at the Downey Theater, Mario Aguilar. And Saturday, the festival. I understand that there were over 5,000 people in attendance. Congratulations, Downey. You kept it PG-13. There were no incidents. Lots of families out there having a good time. We had a Depeche Mode cover band. The lead singer is Freddie Morales, and he's a Downey resident. He did an amazing job. I don't know if, no, you were busy at the other events. We were spread out throughout the city. And we have DJ Irene. DJ Irene is here. I'm recognizing her because DJ Irene, a Downey-born DJ Irene. When I came to LA, there was a club. I like clubs. Everybody knows that. And it was Circus and Arena. And she was an amazing DJ playing house music back in the days. And thank you, DJ Irene, for doing that for the community. Your talent was amazing. You had them rocking out. Thank you so much for that. And then, of course, we had Valentina, who was being followed by MTV cameras and the LA Times. She's filming a reality show. And from Mexico City, we had Lorena Herrera, and she put on a great show. So congratulations, Downey, and to LA CATA, the organizers of the event. Big thank you to my colleagues for generously supporting the event and showing that Downey is indeed a safe space, a welcoming and loving city for all. Yes, I do want the flag back in front of City Hall, but that was amazing, that festival, and it put Downey on the map. The organizers of Long Beach Pride were here, and they want to adopt us as their sister pride. I don't want to get too big. It's a free event, and I want to keep the focus in Downey. So thank you for that. Sister Cities organization, they're their own independent nonprofit. They've reached out and they would like us to formally engage in a sister city relationship with El Grullo, Jalisco. And they're hoping that we can get this done and approved. So if we could set it in the next agenda item, Mr. City Manager, because they would like to invite the contingency from El Grullo, Jalisco to come here to council chambers September 10th. And interestingly enough, both Councilmember and Ortiz are from Jalisco, at least our parents are. So if we can put that on the next agenda, can I get a second? Thank you. Trader Joe's update. We haven't given up. I'm just going to leave it at that. I asked for updates. I haven't given up. We haven't given up, okay? I feel good about it. That's all I can say. Double-decker bus. I was talking to historian extraordinaire from Downey. Everybody knows him, George Red Fox, right? I would like to see if the council would like to consider renting a double-decker bus that we would schedule. George would be the tour guide and give free tours to the community of our city. He said he would do a 2-hour tour, and he'd probably do 3. And so I think that'd be an amazing thing. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that. I'm the historian, and I'm trying to get that brochure working with George
Yes.
as well. So that would be very cool.
So if we could do, consider that the next agenda, the double-decker red bus tour, so when the weather is cooler. And I'm thinking maybe we can do it when Christmas lights are up and kids are on vacation, and they can see Downey in the daytime and then at night. So let's work on that. Hopefully the council will approve the double-decker red bus tour of Downey coming soon, we hope. I would like to look into the possibility of us waiving fees for veterans at a certain income, because I know there's some veterans who are doing really well and don't need their fees waived. But if we could consider adopting some sort of program where veterans who perhaps are starting their first business and don't have quite the income yet, we can give them a break and waive fees of some sort. I'd like to see if staff could look into that and make a recommendation. And yes, congratulations to Horacio Ortiz. It looks like he will go unopposed and serve the residents of District 1 and, of course, all Downey, because that's how we operate. So congratulations, sir. Well done. You have shown a tremendous work ethic. You have been fighting for District 1, and I told you when you first ran that you were running in the district that has the most homeless encampments, if you will. You have the industrial corridor to worry about, and you're bordered by freeways. Downey, as you all know, is not bordered just by 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 freeways. And that brings us pollution. I keep telling our state representatives, every time we talk about the environment and clean air, Downey should be their priority. Our air is worse. It's a fact, because of the freeways. And now we have homeless encampments to deal with. I'm thankful to Governor Newsom. And so here's my ask. I would like Downey to take the lead and reach out to contract cities to engage in analysis of expanding the 11,550 laws. It takes 18 times on average for law enforcement or city or government before an unhoused individual accepts services. 18 times is costing us a lot of money. If we were to expand the 11,550 laws, and I haven't discussed it with you, Chief, but I'll set up coffee so I could get your input on this. With Senator Susan Eggman's inclusion of the word disability into the 11,550 laws, I think we can make an argument as to why we should be allowed to require individuals to get in a van that will take them to somewhere where they will get service. It shouldn't be 18 times. Our police officers have a lot of work to do. So I would like us to take the lead to see if it'd be prudent for us to go to Sacramento and expand the 11,550 laws, and I would like us to formally reach out to contract cities. Who's our chair? Is that you, Councilwoman Fermetta? If we could take the lead on that, I would like to say Downey did that, because I think it's time that we stop enabling the unhoused. We keep asking individuals who are mentally infirm if they want help. That makes no sense.
I agree.
we need to stop enabling the unhoused and get them the help they need. So I would like to take the lead on that, please. Can I get a second?
Second that one.
Thank you. And Councilwoman from Meta, perhaps we could discuss that. So yes, congratulations, Horacio. You have a lot of work to do, but you're leading the fight. Woodruff is clean. Today, I drive by. My mom's house is in District 1, and it's so great to not see the trailers. And I also don't see them at Walmart. So I don't know where they're gone, but I don't see them, and I just want to congratulate the staff for that. And I also want to congratulate Public Works, and then I'll be done, for installing the crosswalk near Unsworth Elementary. We had that young man who came who had the accident, so they installed that crosswalk. Thank you for doing that. And that concludes my comments.
Oh, if I may add something else to my ask, I would like, about 3 years ago, we planted the Tree of Kindness, and this was right outside of, right outside the library. And this was from coming out of COVID. I think this was in 2021 when I was mayor, the first go around. And this was with students from Downey Middle School, and with students suffering from some mental health issues. We wanted to bring students together, and they painted some rocks, and they would put little messages, and the tree was planted, and we had a little ceremony there. However, we never did do a plaque to commemorate or to have something that is a tree of kindness that was planted. And I would like to have staff look into that, getting a plaque and putting that in there.
I'll second that. And just a reminder, staff, hopefully we're doing an inventory of all plaques in the city, and we can see which ones are missing and perhaps consider replacing that, some of them.
We are working on that, Mayor.
Great, thank you.
And maybe a material that's not bronze, too.
And in a way that it can't be easily removed and then sold on the market. All right, and now it's time for our city manager comments, and then we will get down to the Mayor's Excellence Awards presentations.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Just to go over a couple of operational items that were requested, we're happy to look into them. There was a request to look at the striping around the stop signs on Suva Street near the schools. Happy to do that, not a problem. As well as Old River School Road, some street sweeping issues for that after the cars are moved. We'll definitely take care of that and look at that. As well as the letter for the folks at River Grove. I know our fire department was out there recently and looked at the road and determined that there was some access issues, so we'll be working with them to get some cars moved out. But happy to also follow up with a letter to say, hey, you need to be a good neighbor to the people that are around you. I know our PD is already working on it, but we're happy to continue to work on having officers by our schools to help with traffic during this time of the year, especially as folks are kind of figuring out the traffic patterns, and maybe we're at a new school. So we'll definitely be out there. I know they're already doing that. I do need a second, if there's interest from the rest of the council, on waiving fees for veterans. Perfect, thank you. We'll bring a report back and with some options for council to consider. For the item about the expanding 11.550 laws, we'll talk to our federal or our state lobbyist to figure out some options, and then we can put together a package in some way that will reach out to contract cities and others and see if there's some way we can build a coalition for those issues, assuming council gives us direction to proceed.
And you know what, yes, just to elaborate on that, I know the County Board of Supervisors, after their July 31st meeting, indicated they would be working with the 88 cities in LA County regarding those issues.
Yeah, and if there's ways to partner with others, we'll definitely look at that as options too and bring that back to you as a report. Let's see, finally, happy to look at the plaque at the library and bring some information back about how we might proceed with that option. So thank you, appreciate your time. As mentioned, we are working on homelessness. I just want to put a quick recap on that. It's something that we as a staff know is important to this community, looking at encampments and figuring out, one, can we get people into services, and can we clear out the encampments, and we're working very actively on that. There are some things that we need to do to address some of our laws to make sure that we're compliant with the new Supreme Court decision, to make sure that we can continue to abate encampments, but we're bringing that back on the 27th for a conversation with the council so we can take care of those issues and discuss further action on it. And I will let it go back to you, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger. And now it's time for the Mayor's Excellence Awards. Irene Mejia Gutierrez, will you please come forward? Downey born, DJ Irene. So DJ Irene, known as Irene M. Gutierrez, is a celebrated artist, an advocate, recognized as America's most loved DJ. Beyond her impressive music career, Irene is deeply committed to community involvement. She uses her platform to support children in the foster care system, sharing her own journey through adversity in her children's book. Irene is a published author, and I have a copy at home, and I'm upset because I was going to bring it so you could autograph it. But I'm sure I'll see you soon. DJ Irene Superstar is the name of the book. With a background of overcoming foster care, homelessness, and addiction, she's dedicated to helping these kids feel seen and hopeful. Irene also teaches music to college students in urban communities, combining her passion for music with her mission to inspire and uplift the next generation. So Irene Mejia Gutierrez, also known as DJ Irene, in recognition of your outstanding dedication to community service and your unwavering commitment to supporting children in the foster care system, through your inspiring journey and the impactful stories shared in your book, you have provided hope and a sense of belonging to countless young lives. Your efforts to uplift and empower the next generation through music, education, and advocacy are deeply appreciated. Thank you for being a beacon of hope and a source of inspiration. Sincerely, the Mayor of Downey, Mario Trujillo. Few words?
Just like to thank the city of Downey, and I was born here.
Right.
It was Rio Hondo Hospital, but it's not here anymore. In fact, there's a story behind it. My father, my mom had told him, let's practice. He's like, no, I've got this, right? And when the day it happened, he goes to General. And she's like, no, I'm not supposed to go there.
Wrong house.
Wrong house. I was almost born in a car, okay? Because I'm like, get me out of here. So I thought that was a funny story to share with everyone and how I came to Downey. And I grew up in Montebello, so I've always, had an attachment to Downey. Thank you again, City of Downey. And thank you, everybody, for all the support. I know some of you guys are like, who's DJ Irene? Well, here I am. And I'm glad I'm able to inspire many people who have become very successful politicians as yourself. Many people that went to ARENE, which was in the 1990s a non-judgmental club for the first time. And it was very important that this club, and because of my music, saved lives. There were kids coming on the bus just to come to this club that was open from 9 to 4 a.m. and they would be there at 7 p.m. just get ready. So I'm glad I was able to offer that, and I've met many people today that would come up to me as you came up to me today. You said you took the rapid transit, the RTD. But I'm just thankful that I had this opportunity and the support of everyone, and that no matter what you go through in life, may it be addiction, having a horrible growing up of living in a toxic home, or whatever challenges that you come across, that you're still able to be someone if you just try. If we don't try, how we expect to do something? If it was so easy, everybody would be doing it. And everybody in here who has accomplished something in their lives is because we tried and we didn't give up. And I'm a perfect example of that. If you do that, you can succeed in whatever you do. Thank you very much, Mario.
Thank you.
Oh, I got a pen. Oh, I got a pen. Yes.
Council.
No. Come on down. Come on.
Yeah, let's take that individual.
My mother worked at Rio Hondo Hospital.
Oh, really?
She'd always bring home the chicken at the end of the evening, and like that, my sister worked at Rio Hondo.
Congratulations very much.
Oh.
There's townhomes there now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what again?
Townhomes.
Oh.
you. I'll see you soon. The Mayan, right? I'll see you at the Mayan. All right. And now, PTA helps. As I make my travels, getting to know and learn more about the city, I finally made it to the PTA Helps room. I was really impressed, and it just hits you of the work that you're doing. You know, when families don't have food. Man, count your blessings when you open up the pantry and there's so much stuff, right? So I wanted to recognize PTA Helps. So if we can have, is there a president or a chair? Why don't we have the whole group come on down now? Let's go. PTA Helps, come down. I want to talk about you all. So while they're coming down, PTA Helps, since its inception, the PTA Food Bank has been a crucial presence in the city of Downey, providing emergency food for residents and families within the Downey Unified School District. The need has grown from serving 40 to 50 families during the holidays to over 350, that's 350 families at Thanksgiving, and around 400 at Christmas. They operate every Wednesday and Friday, and the bank supports 85,000 school-connected families and 15% other Downey residents and the elderly. This essential service not only addresses immediate needs, but also fosters a spirit of community and mutual support. We deeply appreciate the volunteers whose dedication significantly influences and strengthens our community. A sincere thank you for the work you do. I want you to know that you are so important here. And if there's ever anything I can do or this council can do to support your mission, you let us know. We do have a community-based grant program that we've opened up for organizations who may be in need. Please look it up so you're familiar with it. If you ever need to apply, please do so. We created that, the council created that grant program with organizations like yours and mine that are doing the amazing work. So on behalf of the City Council, I want, in recognition of 48 years of invaluable support to Downey and the local community, the PTA Helps, which stands for Health Education, Local Pantry and Service, began with a partnership as a thrift store and the PTA. Your service to 85% of families connected to our schools and 15% other Downey residents and the elderly. Providing food is much appreciated. We're deeply grateful to the volunteers who make this essential service possible for our community. And that's why we want to recognize Roxana Alanis Medina. ¿Dónde estás? Aquí está Roxana. Thank you so much. Patricia Nicole Norris. ¿Dónde está? Thank you so much, Patricia. Marge Lewis. Gail, is it Rabi? Rabi. All right. Gail, thank you. Rocio Alanis. Rocio, gracias. Johnny Salamanca. Johnny, thank you so much. Gabriel Salamanca.
He's right here.
Órale, Gabriel, thank you. Abigail Smith. Abigail, thank you. Jasmine Smith.
She's not here.
All right, is that, you can get it to her? Oscar Flores.
Not here.
Lori Fiore. Kim Soletani. I'm sure I think you can get it to her, right? And of course, Martha Soletani, superstar. Beth Gandro, thank you. Now, Beth not only does PTA Helps, but she also does, thank you, which is on Saturdays, right? Thank you. And Cynthia Cruz. Cynthia. Thank you, Cynthia. All right, so will someone be giving some remarks?
Oh, nice. Hi, my name is Roxana Lanis Medina, and I was the director there for 2.5 years. And I have been helping out in the food pantry since 2015. I started off stocking shelves and things like that. It was an amazing experience. The reason why, this is very interesting. When my son started early intervention at 3 years old, a little girl was stealing his food.
Yep.
In class. And instead of getting upset, I realized, let me pack 2 little lunches. Little did I know that that parent was really struggling. Getting your child diagnosed with a disability, they need a lot of help. And early intervention is only half day, so you can't be a full-time employee. It's a lot. And one day I caught her giving my son back the Tupperware container. And so I told her, I'm like, I Googled that there is a place you could go in Downey. So I started giving her a ride. And then I realized that they needed help stocking shelves. I made a friend with Oscar. Ever since then, I've always been a PTA Helps Room chair, any school my son is in. So I started back in 2015. I've seen great directors, and they gave me big shoes to fill, which is Dorothy, Beth. We've had, I believe, Cheryl was as well. Beautiful women. And Martha and her family have supported, Rocio, Cynthia, it takes a community, it takes a village to help these families. And I have seen, we used to feed a lot of the community members and not that many school kids. It has flipped. We have more children, and thanks to our fire department, we actually, they do the toy drive for us, and we help with the food, and we collaborate with each other. So it's a great partnership. Having this program in Downey is essential for these families, and I thank everyone who has ever donated, whether it's a toy for the toy drive or a can of beans. Thank you so much.
All right. There's a picture.
Thank you.
There's a picture in the front.
Oh, yes.
There's the council. There we go. Council? You're there? It's not that kind of- All right.
I gotta go with the tall people.
See everybody? Right. Thank you so much. If you ever need something, find yourself an emergency, call me. Okay?
Oh, he really pushes all the food right for us.
Thank you. Gracias.
I need to read in the request from Mayor Pro Tem real quick for a future agenda item.
Oh, what was it? Yeah, I'll read it.
Yeah.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, I understand you want to read something into the record.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem had asked for a future agenda item that he asked that I read into the record and for a request for a second from the council, that staff reach out to LA County to inquire about subsidizing costs accumulated for Downey police officers' pay and costs associated with Ocean Blue with respect to their efforts in clearing out homeless encampments on LA County property. If there's a second on the council, we'll take care of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will now take public comment on agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items. If you did not receive a number card, wish to speak, please go to the back and get a blue card. Before we begin, I'll remind you of the city's meeting rules contained in the municipal code. Don't disrupt, disturb, or interfere with the conduct of this meeting. Copies of the rules are in the back. If you disrupt, we're going to give you one warning, and then you may be removed. And you could also be fined. We could also ask for a misdemeanor filing against you. We acknowledge that you have a right to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction, and you're invited to do so, but we have to conduct business here in a fair and efficient manner. So if you're disrupting or disturbing, we will eventually ask you to leave. We expect everyone to behave. No yelling, whistling, booing, or any conduct that disturbs the meeting. No attacks of a personal nature. And please address your comments to myself and not any other council member or staff. City Clerk Duarte, did we get any written public comment to be incorporated?
Yes, Mayor, we have one written public comment for a request for a ceasefire resolution and two written public comments for a vote no on a ceasefire resolution. And that is all.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment?
So moved. Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have a total of 8, Mayor.
Okay, based on the number of speakers, each speaker will have 2 minutes to address the council. I remind you, you must be seated until your number is called. Speaker number 1, please come forward.
I need 3.
Jesus Christ.
You can turn me off at any time and I'll leave, but I really need 3 minutes for this. My subject is economic rent. Is there anybody here that knows what I mean? I take it no. Okay, economic rent is a little understood concept that everyone feels as winners or losers. My economics professor at USC declined it as someone else walks away with the money, leaving you stuck with part of the costs. Examples are trivia. Your neighbor's tree drops leaves on your yard, and you have to clean them up. Looking at extreme, slavery has winners living in castles and losers picking shit with the chickens. Economic rent is a negative in the economy, but I don't see any examples of people subtracting it from economic forecasts. The result is glowing economic reports that belie the true state of the economy. Stock markets go up and stockholders are all smiles, but others working in the trenches wonder why they are having so much trouble getting by. Economic rent is generated by both public and private sectors. Here I'm covering mostly government. If you take the total expenditures of all parts of government and subtract out that which is required to pay the cost of government, that is, the limited government our founders imagined, what's left is largely economic rent, government bailouts, government handouts, government-funded welfare, economic stimulation, entitlements. Reparations, rent control, wage and salary laws, foreign aid, toxic welfare, toxic waste cleanups. That list just goes on and on. Everybody loves economic rent when it puts them in a winner's circle. Everybody feels abused when they are the losers. Economic rent is the never-ending struggle to get someone else to
At this
cover
point,
part
we have
of
to
your
go on to
cost of
speaker number
living
2, sir.
and will destroy our world.
Yeah.
We should have learned from the past, but we still have stock markets, loans, but recessions and depressions, power struggles, winners and losers. No thanks to voters who think they are in a winner's circle. As long as you vote for benefits instead of good government, we all.
Thank you, sir. Speaker number 2, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. America was engulfed in World War I in the early part of the 1900s. The greatest generation found themselves in the crosshairs of World War II toward the middle of the 1900s. It took not only G.I. Joe on the battlefield, but also Rosie the Riveter on the home front to win World War II. Now, Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran are aligning against America. They will be our adversaries during World War III. When World War III comes to pass, as I know it will, America will deeply regret the loss of the many tens of millions of people who were killed in their mother's wombs by abortion, and the multiplied millions more who would have been their children and grandchildren. They would have stood with us against the onslaught of foreign armies. Kamala Harris's foremost achievement during her time as vice president has been to promote and encourage the practice of abortion. Based on her record, I say Kamala Harris is a clear and present danger to the national security of America. Solomon said, "It is an abomination for kings to commit wickedness, for a throne is established by righteousness." Proverbs 16:12. I recommend the resources available at harvest.org.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, please come forward.
Lee Squire, Vietnam era veteran. I did not serve in Vietnam, but I did serve during the era called the Vietnam War. To say that I did not serve in Vietnam and to say otherwise is what's known as stolen valor. That is intolerable for we of the U.S. military, and there's already one who's already stolen valor saying I served in combat, and he did not. I'm also a Cold War veteran, U.S. Army Downey graduate in 1967. Purple Heart Medal, First Amendment freedoms, parents are domestic terrorists. Per a DOJ letter, the Purple Heart Medal is the bloodshed defending freedoms of the United States Constitution, and this includes the First Amendment freedoms of speech, religion, press, peaceful assembly, to petition my government for the redress of grievances. The way you think we the military and the veterans is by exercising these freedoms in the U.S. Constitution and those of the First Amendment. Parents call domestic terrorists why? Exercising First Amendment freedoms at school board meetings and city councils when they are doing nothing more than speaking up for the values that they wish to instill in their children. These are nothing more than attack upon parental rights. I also want to know AB 1955 as to parental rights is another attack upon these parents and the right to raise their children the way they see fit. I'm asking each one of you council members tonight, I want to know your position as to yes or no as to support of AB 1955 attacks upon the parental rights in our public school districts. God bless America. God bless the nation of Israel. God bless my military and veterans and their families. And God bless law enforcement across America and their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Where are we? Number 4?
All right. Smaller government, it sounds like tonight. I like it. That's what we need. Less government, lower taxation, roll back of regulations on business. We can support law enforcement, though. I think they deserve our support and respect. And in view of that, I think the city council needs to stop getting involved in having these street closures for the International Food and Music Festival and the Havana Nights. It's not your job to close our streets down, to invite your friends from Glendale or Santa Fe Springs or wherever they're from. They can do those things in their city. And if they want to celebrate their heritage or whatever it is they want to do, they can do it with opening their own wallets and not taking city money or assets to do it. There's nothing wrong with anybody doing any of these things. Just pay for it yourself and not at the expense of the resident. Couple of things. We do have an assemblywoman that supports AB 1955, which is a direct attack on parents and puts a chasm between the parents and their kids. And it's absolutely disgusting. And I'm sure just about everybody up here supports that assemblywoman and AB 1955 and her chief advisor to support such a thing. She is on record for voting for it twice. And now she's trying to pivot our assemblywoman to not to be supportive of Proposition 36, which is a redo of Prop 47. It was our assemblywoman that worked feverishly to get Prop 36 off of the ballot, but now she's going to claim she's for it. That is total misrepresentation of her values. Thank you.
Speaker number 5. Good evening.
Good evening. Dave Bowers, 10620 Dolan Avenue, Downey, California. I come here tonight to ask that the City of Downey stop requesting and applying for federal funds. The reasons for this request are simple. The federal government in the past 4 years has proven themselves to be completely useless at protecting the freedoms and liberties of the American people. The reason for their lack of respect for the people's rights appears to be their own craven desire for power that has corrupted their morals, their departments, and our government institutions. Therefore, I consider these people crooks. In my experience, usually, only other crooks ask for money from other crooks to run their own scam. Is that what is done when a city asks for federal funds? Funds that typically have certain rules and strings, rules that mean the funds are doled out only to the obedient local groups. They then pump the volume for the crooks they got the money from while cashing checks at the bank. Oh man, got time, good. For these basic reasons and several more, I ask that the Downey stops playing this game, stops requesting federal funds, figure out how to put on your big boy pants and run this city clean and honest, like I expect. I will expect no less of my local community. Until we meet again, think hard about your role and how honest you really are.
Thank you. Speaker number 6. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Bradley and staff. 2 items. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge Chief Herlock and the Downey Fire Department and Chief Lochner and the Downey Police Department for their efforts in helping to make our city safer. Thank you to them. Second item is I'd like to share with you, my next job is I'd like to work for the federal government. And the reason why is that one of the benefits of it is that apparently I can lie on a job and probably have nothing happen to me. As an example, I'm going to pick on Alejandro Mayorkas. You might have met him in your travels in Washington. I'm sure he's a wonderful gentleman, but he lies. In my opinion, he lies about what he said for the last 3.5 years pertaining to the security of our southern border. He says it's safe and whatever. And the gentleman, in many ways, using various language, have put together his analysis that the southern border is secure. Now, many people disagree with that, and I happen to be one of them. And in my opinion, you can probably encapsulate all his criteria about the southern border into one word. And that word is bullshit. And so therefore, I have less respect for the rhetoric coming out of the federal government these days because of what's being said. This ends my comments. I yield my time back to you.
Thank you. Speaker number 7, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, Mayor Trujillo. My name is Michelle Farina. I'm a lifelong resident of Downey. I went to Maud Price Elementary School, Griffiths Middle School, Warren High School, Cerritos College. I then went to Cal State Long Beach. For a while, I was a history major. While I was taking upper-level history classes there, I took a class called The History of Israel and Palestine. I have been paying attention to the conflict for many years. That was back in 2007. My question for all of you is, who is advising you that being silent and not taking a stand for Israel is neutral? Where are you getting the information? If you are not researching this yourself, if you're not taking the time to read about the history, to pay attention to the news coming out of Gaza, then who is counseling you? Because I really would like to meet them and talk to them. And I hope that they're Downey residents that you're listening to and not just people that you made friends with along the way somewhere. I know that some of you are friends with Blanca Pacheco, Robert Garcia, Barbara Culeta, and though I do want you to pass my message and tell them you have residents who want a ceasefire, what I would like even more is that you care about this and that you advocate for a ceasefire because you care about it and you convince your friend to do something because they're the ones apparently that have the power to stop this. I've been calling and calling and calling these people for months. They have been dismissing us. And we don't know what else to do. We don't know where the proper place to take this up is. I can't talk about it at work. I can't talk about it, at the dinner table with family because people aren't supposed to bring up politics and make things divisive. Where am I supposed to take this? Where am I supposed to get help for the people that are dying every single day with our tax dollars? That's why we come to you, and that's why we're appealing to you. And I hope that you care, and I think that you do care about other things, and you're doing great things in our city. So I don't envy you guys for being in this position that you're in during a genocide. You did not choose this, but it is your duty to do something now and represent the people you're supposed to represent. Thank you, ceasefire.
Thank you. Speaker number 8. Please come forward. Speaker number 8. Is this the last one? Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I didn't prepare a lot tonight, but last time I was here, I asked you where your heart was. Do you guys have a heart? Do you use it? I'm going to ask you this time. You have a brain. Do you think? What do you think about what's going on in Gaza? How do you justify it? Everybody has a religion. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has their personal freedoms to believe what they believe, to act how they act. But when's the last time you saw 100 people get mutilated by a U.S. bomb in church while praying their morning prayers? How do you justify that? How do you say that's okay? I'm here to ask you for a ceasefire amendment. It's easy. It's a piece of paper. It has the meaning of the words that you put on it, whether people agree with it or not. Nobody's saying, what color is your rainbow? What color is your flag? What is your religion? We can all tolerate each other and we can all stand with each other side by side and say, this is important to us. And in Downey, it should be important. It should be important to our elected leadership. It's important to your citizens, the people that live here. And we're watching you and we're calling on you and we're asking you to do the right thing. Use your hearts, use your brains, and do the right thing. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the mayor. Now is the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item?
Yes, I need to abstain from item number 3 due to my current employment with Kaiser Permanente.
Okay, and I have to abstain from items 6 and 7 due to property that I own near the locations of the street closures. Any other council members?
Just a comment for item number 6. It might have been updated. The date will be September 14th on the International Food Festival.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay. There are two administrative reports this evening. Number 8, designation of a voting delegate and alternate for the League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo, October 16th to the 18th, 2024, Long Beach. That the City Council adopt a resolution number 24-8263 designating a voting delegate and alternate for the League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo, October 16th, 18th, 2024 in Long Beach. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report for the item?
Yes, Mayor, we have Marlon Ramirez, our assistant to the city manager, who will do the report.
Please proceed, Mr. Ramirez.
Good evening, Mayor Trujillo and members of the City Council. The item before you concerns the upcoming League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo. This year, the annual conference and expo will be held in Long Beach on October 16th through the 18th. The General Assembly, which is taking place on Friday, October 18th, is comprised of voting delegates from across the state appointed by each member city who gather to vote on resolutions and establish the league's policy and platform. The City Council is being asked to designate a voting delegate and 1 or 2 alternates by resolution, which is referenced as Attachment A, to represent the City of Downey at the General Assembly. This concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Ramirez, has this council traditionally just named the mayor or as the delegate and then the vice mayor as the alternate, or what, is there a pattern here?
I don't believe that there's a pattern. Last year, I want to say Mayor Pro Tem Hector Sosa was appointed.
Okay.
And then the year before that, I don't.
Okay.
Mayor Trujillo, I can jump in on that. It has traditionally been the mayor pro tem, but it also depends on availability of the council members if they're available to attend the conference, and that's when we see sometimes changes.
Okay. Does anybody want to do it? I'm going to be there, but if anybody's really jumping at it and wants it, I'm okay with you taking it.
I think someone who had the experience before to be the delegate, that would make sense. I know I'm going. I think Mayor Pro Tem is too.
Okay.
Well, then I
Claudia?
think one of the things is I am the chair of the Public Safety Legislative Committee for the League, and I will be attending this year. I'm happy to be the delegate and have Mayor Pro Tem be the alternate.
And I think we named 2 alternates. Isn't that right, Marlene?
Up to 2. So you can only have 1 if that's all you want.
So if it's okay with you, we'll name you as the motion is you're the primary, Mayor Pro Tem Sosa as alternate, followed by Councilwoman Pemberton. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Second. All those in favor? Vote. Okay. So now we have a discussion regarding a proposed citywide bus shelter Phase 1 installation plan under Park and Rec that the City Council discuss and provide staff with direction regarding proposed multi-year wide bus shelter installation plan. City Manager Bradley, I see that the head of our Park and Rec is here, Jason Chacon. I assume he's doing the report. Please proceed, sir. I'm trying to get to birthday cake, by the way, before 8. If you guys notice why I'm rushing. Let's just get to it. Is there coffee? Is there coffee to go? Yeah, I'm catching a plane to Puerto Rico tonight, but apparently there's a hurricane. So
How long ago was the birthday?
I'll find out at the Delta Sky Lounge what is going on. Thank you, Jason. Proceed.
Mayor, members of the council, back in February, the council asked staff to look into our current layout of our bus shelters throughout the city and return with some options to be able to talk about a plan to look at what we have. Currently, what we did is, and on your reports here, you'll see that we took a look at the total number of bus stops that we have in the city of Downey, which are 185 bus stops. So I know it's a little hard to see here. It's a little easier maybe on your screens, but every blue dot here is a stop that we have in the city of Downey. The red ones as well, and I'll explain a little bit more what the red ones are. These are shared bus stops. So we have multiple service providers in our city. We have our LA Metro, we have Long Beach Transit, we have Bellflower Transit, and then we also have our Downey Link. So we have 185 shared bus stops. And then within that, we also have 14 Downey branded shelters. We'll talk about what a Downey branded shelter is, but you can see on this map, and I'll come back and forth through it, where those shelters are. These are denoted with the red emblems along the map. So what is a Downey branded shelter? As you can see here, these are consistent shelters that come with a shade structure, a bench, trash can with the city logo, as well as the city name across the top of it. We currently have 14 of these that are throughout our city. You can see here on the right-hand side the intersections that they are currently at. Lakewood and Telegraph has 3, Lakewood and Gallatin has 2, Lakewood and Florence has 1, Firestone and Paramount has 4, Firestone and Downey Avenue has 2, and Bellflower at Imperial Highway has 2. So again, to go back to this map, you can kind of see where they currently lie in the city. These were started back in 2015. For the most part, these took place whenever there was a capital improvement project that was happening in the city that included road work, sidewalks, ADA repairs, entry monument work. When those were done, these capital improvement projects would include these Downey branded bus shelters that are currently in. So that's why you can kind of see the bunch up here towards the north side, as well as over on the other intersections that we've had here. Now, 185 bus stops, but only 14 of them are Downey branded. So the question is, what do the rest of our bus shelters look like? The majority, we have a couple different ones. So I'm going to click through these and I'll come back to kind of tell you where we're at. The majority of our bus stops look like this. These are just basic blue mesh benches with a trash can. Over 125 of our 185, this is what you're going to see out there. As we go down this list, this is the next most popular, which is very similar, but instead of a bench, it has more of a partition seating. There's only a few of these concrete benches with trash receptacles. There's literally only 2 or 3 of these that are in the entire city. And then as you start going, these are no longer shared. You can see from here, this is a Downey link where we only have a sign and a trash can, or in some cases, we just have a sign. So the question is, why do we have those? And I can bring you back to this picture, and that you can see the amount of space that is needed for one of these Downey branded shelters. These are 16 feet long by 6 feet deep by 14 feet high. So you'll see that some of the other locations throughout the city don't serve this ability to be able to do this, as well as whatever is behind the structure can limit us as well. So as you can see here, this is right outside of City Hall. This sideway is significantly smaller and would not allow us to have the 6-foot clearance to allow ADA here. So that's a case at a lot of our shelters throughout the city. You can also see the same here, that there's a retaining wall behind this, and all 3 of these pictures are small setbacks here, and that's not city property. So it'd be difficult to have some of those Downey branded shelters be in those locations. So those are just some of the limitations that we have and what we can do with those. The smaller ones here too as well. These aren't ADA compatible, and these are single bus stops instead of shared bus stops in what we have. So what you have in front of you tonight is a plan. We are calling this phase 1. It will take 3 years. And over those 3 years, we are looking at doing 4 shelters every year. Sounds slow, 4 shelters every year. The reason being, these shelters right here, when they were built in 2016, roughly they cost about $25,000 to $30,000 to build one shelter. That was in 2015 or 16. The quote that we have now is $50,000 per shelter to be able to build the exact same thing. So one intersection in itself would cost us $200,000 to be able to build 4 of these shelters at one intersection. So where does this money come from? The money comes from our Prop A money from LA County, the Metro. We would request this money, which we've already put in a request for the $250,000, waiting for a word back. We put $50,000 as contingency for the project to be able to do that. And that would take care of one intersection of 4 bus stops in year 1. In year 2, we would do another intersection of 4 bus stops. And then in year 3, we would do 2 for phase 1. How many total phases are there? Staff has identified at least 20 locations throughout the city that could, by requirement, be able to have size requirements, be able to have one of these shelters if we wanted. The staff recommendation today of why we chose the areas that we did we have a report from LA Metro and the ridership that happens within the city of Downey. And you have in your reports the top 10 bus stops in the city of Downey by the average number of people who get on and off that bus. So you'll see it's a little difficult if you don't understand every day, but instead of doing 4 different stops, these get put together. So the number 1 and number 2 stops are the Lakewood Boulevard station. I will show you this picture here. That is on the 105, above the 105 freeway. That is the number 1 stop. You can see the picture here on both sides of the street. This is, by design. The Metro lets people off, and this is where people are catching the most buses in and out of Downey. The next highest on the list that the staff has proposed is the Lakewood and Firestone intersection. Again, you can see here on the screen in front of these are the current bus stops that we have in front of the Farmers Merchant Banks, in and out. I forget which bank this is down here. And then in and out. This is our third, fourth, and fifth most popular bus stops with in and out of people getting on the bus. And then the third is Lakewood and Imperial. I'll show you why staff recommended this one. Even though this drops down to really, this is number 7, 8, 9, and 10 on the list. They aren't the next ones on the list. And really it goes back to our map and the coverage that we have in the city. So you'll see here currently in the city, we have our major thoroughfares kind of covered over here on the north side. But as we get past Firestone, we really don't have any more down on the south side of the city. So staff's recommendation is that currently the first 4 would be the intersection of Firestone and Lakewood. And then the second 4 would be Imperial and Lakewood. And then the last one would be down here at the 105 and the Lakewood station. Again, based on the number of riders that are getting in and out of our bus stops. Just to give you an example, something like this that's on the side of the street, these might not even be in our top 50 stops in the city. Now, these are all on Lakewood Boulevard. So the question is really, does the council want more of where people need shade? Where are our students picking up the bus? Where do you see lots of people picking up buses versus the look of certain things as well? Lakewood Boulevard being able to have all of the stops is on the list. There are 20 possible locations in the future, but the recommendation from staff right now is to start with the top 10 list of the most ridden stops, if that makes sense. We do have this in the 24-25 budget as an allocation request to LA County. We are waiting back to hear from them on that. The lead time right now for this is an 8-week manufacturing lead time to actually make them, and then another 6 weeks for installation, just to give you guys an idea of what that would look like. Try and make sure I have everything for you. Yes, I can answer questions if the council has different questions or show you pictures.
I have a question. Thank you, Jason, for this. I'm looking at the photo of the in and out on Firestone, passing Lakewood. And east of that, on Firestone, right past the Farmers and Merchants Bank and then the Acapulco, there is a bus shelter that looks really dilapidated. I think it's right across from Foot Locker. And it is, again, probably 150 feet, maybe 200 feet from this proposed in and out. What can you tell me about that current bus shelter we have? It looks like it's one of the old ones. It looks like it is about to fall apart, and I think I had brought this up previously. Is that ours? And what are we doing then to upgrade that one, perhaps? It seems like they're too close together, or maybe it's a separate stop.
It's a separate stop altogether. It's owned by the Stonewood, and so city staff has actually met with them and is working with them on a plan to get that redone. Since it is theirs, we are working with them to be able to fix that, but we are helping them with some options and getting some quotes and working on that end with them. So city staff has met with them multiple times and trying to work to that end to get that replaced.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. I was a little confused because it seemed it's so close together from that in and out to that one. Okay. And this one on the Farmers or Merchants Bank, again, this one would be the shelter, right? It has enough space to allow for, the ADA compliant.
All 4 of these locations have those. And the reason these are all the most popular is because they connect to another line. So the one that we talk about at Stonewood, it's probably way farther down. I think it's in the 50s or 60s of most popular on the list, because most people are getting off at the In-N-Out to be able to jump on one of the north or southbound on Lakewood Boulevard. So yes, all of these have the space that are needed, and then they connect to other buses.
And what about the ones that you showed on Imperial where the other Chick-fil-A is? Are those also stops that are connecting to other lines?
Correct. That's why these are also the most popular. So if somebody was getting off the metro and was looking to get through our city to another city, they would usually take the bus to this point and then be able to catch Imperial Highway either east or west to either get downtown LA or get back a little bit more inland. So that's why these tend to be a little bit more popular.
And we're only, based on what is budgeted, we are only able to do 3 annually?
4 for the first 2 years. In talking to Metro, the biggest they've allowed right now is about $400,000 for one project. So asking them for $4 million was a little bit rough, but we wanted to. So they are cognizant that we have a lot of bus stops in the area that are old and that our transit system is well run here. So they are open to it. So we're anticipating any day now that we'll get the approval for this first phase.
I don't have any
other questions?
So there's only 4 that are reapproved if they approve the funding, right?
If they approve the funding. If they do not, then we would come back to the council just to ask what you would want to do from there if the county did not provide the funding.
Okay, so we'll come back and discuss if it's just going to be 4, 2 stops, bus stops, or
year 1 would be 4, year 2 would be 4, year 3 would be 2 for the first 10.
Okay.
So 3 years.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion. And
Wait, I have a couple
I'm
comments.
sorry. Question.
Thank you for bringing this up. I remember I had a couple residents that wanted to discuss this, and I'm glad back in February because I wanted to get it done before the heat, but I guess I see it takes a while to get done. One of the factors that I wanted to see is to give shade for our public transportation that didn't have it. For example, this picture here on the top left corner, to me, there's a tree providing shade, and a bus cover might not be as needed as an area that doesn't have it at all, like there by the Conroys, totally open, heavy trafficked area. I would prefer to see some type of a shelter where there's absolutely nothing and no shade. In my district, one of the key areas that I see constantly with seniors and children and parents is the northeast corner of Paramount and Florence. There used to be a tree, and a lot of the property owners cut that down for maintenance, and there's nothing for these people. And that's one of, I think that's your number, maybe it's on your number 5, 6, 7. You know, it's down the road there. But I think some of our key corners like that need something with a cover. And looking at what we have right now, like for example on Lakewood, it's really high. Is it providing good shade? Because the whole point of it is to cover the people so they have shade, and it also it looks porous. Is the top porous that rain can come through?
Yes, it is.
And to me, that's not a very good covering if you're waiting for the bus and it's porous and you're still getting soaked.
Right.
Right.
There's a plastic sheet that goes right underneath it, so it's meant for debris not to be able to get caught up there. But there are holes on the top, and then there's a plastic sheet right over the top of that. So there are portions of it that are covered.
That are covered?
Yeah.
It just seems very high, and that the elements could get to you. I've been to bus stops waiting, like when we travel. There's a back where you sit. There's a back to protect you. And this design here looks maybe ergonomically nice, but is it functional? And the cost, is there something that we can do that's easy to put in and install, not going with the logo and such, in all areas that just provide the shelter that they need in some of the bus stops for these riders? Maybe we have like a 2-tier, like on our main roads, it would say Downey, and maybe on some of the other roads, we have a plan B with a covering lower to provide shade.
I will say the more of an enclosure you make, the more the costs are going to increase. I have been in communities where we put in full enclosures and the cost of one of these becomes $100,000 or more.
Really?
So it's pretty expensive to start looking at those kind of enclosures. Yeah, Bonnie, please.
In addition to that, some cities have gone away from that also because of graffiti and other issues when it comes to maintenance of enclosures when you start adding other elements like that.
The
so they've
graffiti,
seen issues with
I could
that
see
as
that,
well.
absolutely.
And the problem with the the Florence location that you mentioned is not all four corners meet the top 10 criteria, where these other ones, all four corners actually do. So there's actually one stop right now that is branded on Lakewood Boulevard in Florence heading south, and it's the only one of the four corners. The one you're mentioning would be a second, but the other two fall a little bit farther down the list. So we tried to attack the corners that actually had all four corners of the intersection be one of our heaviest ridership.
Yeah, and it looks good aesthetically, too. I can see for sure that we need the Lakewood Station by the Metro. We should have had that, when it was built. That would have been a good place for the bus stop. With the Olympics coming, do you think that there's going to be maybe more of an incentive and grant money out there for transportation, public transportation? Maybe we can see what they're going to offer in coming to help.
We're always looking for more money, and if that comes available, you're
Right.
absolutely sure that we'll jump on that immediately. Yeah.
And staff has actually already started those conversations with LA County and LA 28 regarding those types of transportation needs and how the city will be incorporating those for the games.
Okay.
Any other council questions or comments? I will now entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Okay, so I believe the motion is giving you guidance to proceed with the plan as proposed to this council. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Vote.
Thank you, Jason.
Can have ribbon cuttings at our bus shelters.
No.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. The time is 8:05 p.m. The city council meeting will be adjourned in the memory of Homicide Bureau Sergeant Jason Viger, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, who was killed in an off-duty single-vehicle traffic collision in Santa Clarita. A moment of silence, please, in memory of Sergeant Viger. Thank you. Staff, you're invited to stay for a piece of cake.
Is the meeting adjourned?
Meeting adjourned,